Excuse me here as I get my tablet here working, and hopefully this, there we go. Looks like it's working. All right, we'll give it a minute here for everybody to get on here and following along. Try to get my desk here real quick. How's everyone's week going as we get started here? It's Tuesday. I actually know what day it is. I've been a little behind on remembering what days are what here lately, it feels like. I think I spent a good part of Sunday thinking it was Monday. And so I was a little mixed up on what day was what there. So hopefully everyone's keeping track of what day. And I also do know it's almost May. And part of why I know that, hi from Tennessee, welcome Judy, is that we're gearing up for our new release here that's happening on the very last day of April. It's on Thursday, so April 30th. I've been crafting up a storm with all of the new release, so can't wait to show you that. Hi from Washington. Is that Washington State, Robin? Hello from Wisconsin, Jackie. Thanks for joining us. Hi from North Carolina, Rochester, New York, California. Hello, Patricia and Maureen and Jennifer. And from Maryland, hi Debs. Oh, good, we've got a few people popping on here. Hello from Florida and Washington. I'm Washington State too, Robin. So hello to another Washingtonian. And I do remember to say good afternoon today, and it's actually probably afternoon for most people. So I'm actually kind of on the game there. All right. So hello from Massachusetts, Soki. I'm just going to give maybe 2 more minutes here. We'll wait till about 5 after and really get started. I've got a card I'm going to share and make with you. I'm going to show you a little sneak peek of a couple of the cards I've been working on with the new release that happens on Thursday. I'm also, Leah will be picking a winner for the giveaway here at the end of this. So if you haven't joined before, just like our Facebook Lives that we do every Thursday morning, we pick a $15 gift card winner at the end, and it's just chosen from the comments from people who watch live. So if you want to share that with your friends, you can comment on there that you shared, and that counts as an entry as well. And then feel free to chat and ask questions. If I miss them, usually Leah catches a question on there. Sometimes someone else even sees and is able to answer the question. So let's see, we have, oh, hello to another Heather. I'll remember that name, from Johnston, New York. All right, so we're rolling around here on almost 5 after. Get a sip of iced tea, keep my voice going. Try and talk loud enough so that everybody can hear. We're gonna call this close enough to 5 after. We got a few people on here, so we'll let people keep joining in. So here's a little look at the card we're gonna make today. It's a mostly flat 1 layer, fairly easy to mail, but there's some fun. I don't know if you can kind of see there. There's a little bit of dimension to it. So this it's an older release, but it's still one of my favorites. Hello from Greece. Hi, Vicky. So glad you could join. So this uses the oval foliage wreath. Like I said, this is a set from last year, and I'm actually sort of following along with the sample on the back of the packaging. If you haven't seen Pink Fresh's sets, they always have these really great examples on the back. Sometimes you just get a new stamp set and it's kind of hard to decide what to do with it first. So there's always something pretty back there. So I'm kind of following along with that idea on there, but I kind of combined both options there because it has a coordinating die that you can use on its own with some of those beautiful sentiments, or you can just stamp out the wreath and add the florals on there. So I just kind of combined it together onto one card, and I like that extra texture and dimension you get from mixing and matching and using all of them. So hi Denise, hi Debs. Yep, we Facebook Live is on Thursday, YouTube Live is on Tuesday. We're kind of switching things up. Yes, Debs, I really like, I just love that. And then the samples are always so beautiful. It just kind of gives you an idea of how they're supposed to work together. So definitely don't throw away your packaging when you get that. All right, and then we also have some sparkle on there with some jewels. And if you haven't seen our jewels, I know those, I believe they're still currently back in stock. Those sell really quickly. So, and then that little tiny bow on there is from another older set. We're kind of mixing and matching some older I'll show you that a little later, but that's just using the coordinating dies. So hi, Denise from Northern California, North Dakota, Kara. And yes, Heather. So actually, before I move on, I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Instead of sneak, you've probably seen, if you've been watching our Instagram page, there's been a lot of fun sneaky peeks on there. So make sure and start looking over there. You can see people are sharing some sneak peeks. I was gonna share a couple, just a little look at some of the cards that I've been working on. Just kind of a little tease of a peek. And this one, I'm kind of showing a lot of that front one, but the reason I'm showing that one is that's what we're gonna make on Thursday's Facebook Live, which is release day. So if you pop over on Facebook on Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time zone, which makes it 1 p.m. Eastern time zone. I feel like this is a test, trying to make sure I have those time zones right. This is going to be the card we're going to create, and I have used a total of 3 different new releases on here. So, but you're kind of seeing a little sneak peek of some of the other goodies underneath there too. So, you got a big sneak peek of a few sets right on the top, first one there. So I thought I'd do that today instead of showing some of the new sets on there. But there's so many fun, some new word dies. Probably seen sneak peeks of that. There's some really fun other dies and stamp sets. I don't know if you kind of see some of these sneak peeks. I'm trying not to reveal too much there, but there's your little tease. And if you come back on Thursday, there will be a blog hop, tons of the design team, and also some special guests. There are giveaways. The Instagram and Pink Fresh blog both have a giveaway to win the entire release. And then there's giveaways on each stop along the blog hop. And then, of course, the Facebook Live. So lots of chances to win some of the new goodies and also get to see them all. So, all right. And yes, and YouTube. That's right, YouTube. So there'll be a chance to win on the YouTube channel as well. I know Leah's working on a reveal video with all of that. So, all right. Let me just catch up the comments real quick. Hello from Southern California. Yes, Deb, you need the gems. And yes, Vicki, I know. I don't think a live goes by that I don't use either jewels or crystals. It's very rare. I love those. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and flip the camera. And I know Anna, some people have said, and I don't know, I think it's something to do with YouTube, the volume, because I have the exact same setup that I do for my Facebook Lives. But I noticed some people, so I don't know if there's some of your settings that can get changed or if it's just the way YouTube processes the sound. So sorry about that. Turn your volume up. I'm trying to speak up as much as I can and as much as my voice will handle. And hopefully everyone can hear. Because yeah, I haven't quite figured out why that seems to happen more on YouTube. But some people have more trouble hearing than Facebook Live. All right, let's get this camera all situated here. Sorry for this part. This is always the part that feels so clunky. I'm working on it though. All right. Let's get that on there, and I think that should be about right. Oh, hi from Washington, Dorothy. Welcome. Glad you could join us. Yeah, maybe it's just a YouTube thing. That's kind of what I'm going to go with on that theory. So just a second here. All right, so I will try and speak up the best I can, keep my voice going as long as I can so that you can hear as well as possible. I bet all the crinkly package noise and everything will be what comes through really well. All right, so the main images we're going to use for this card today is that big oval image, this little floral image there, and then I just grabbed that sympathy sentiment on there. Again, I was just kind of copying the design on the back of the card there. I think I have a little fuzz. Yep, I have a little fuzz in there. I don't know if you can kind of see that. I'll try and hold it up close enough. So I was kind of copying that, but just combining the two together. And I thought this layout was so perfect for a sympathy card because sympathy cards are one of those things that you never really want to make, but when you need to make them, it's nice to just have them on hand or have a simple and easy design. So sometimes that'll be kind of my go-to, is just I can recreate something on there, add a little touch of my own to it, but not a lot of extra work. All right, to save, even though my voice might not come through, I feel like the die cut machine is always nice and loud. I use a Gemini. So I went ahead and did my die cutting in advance. This uses that oval foliage wreath, which is the coordinating die to go with the stamp set. And if you look at that die on there, notice it doesn't actually cut a piece out. It just cuts the texture and the dimension onto there. So I'm going to leave it all nice and flat now. At the end, I do kind of pop all those leaves up, but it's easier to stamp on here if I keep them all nice and flat. So I'm going to scooch this out of the way. And I didn't even use a Misty for this card. I just kind of went ahead and used my clear stamp blocks. This is such an easy, simple and easy design. It works really well. So first thing I'm going to kind of do is sort of lay it on, just kind of make sure it's roughly in the right area. And then I've got a big stamp block here that I'm going to use. I'm going to pick that up. And I'm going to use a trio, well, I guess all four in the end here. This is all four of this color family here. All of our Pink Fresh dye inks come in sets of 4 gradient colors. Let me pull out, I have my swatches here that I keep them all stored on, so you can kind of see the gradient of color. The lightest is that fresh pear and the olive is the darkest. So I'm going to use all of these on that card because you know that all the colors, they're in the same color family. They're great for layering, but they also are just going to work really well together. So I start off by stamping that outer, if you look on there, I stamp it 2 times, just slightly offset. It adds a little bit of depth and dimension to it. So I'm going to ink it up with that darkest color, that olive. And just going to ink it up once there. And then I'm going to carefully-ish, I'm not going to worry about it being too perfect because I'm going to stamp it again, that slightly offset. So I'm going to ink it up again. It's such a fine little circle image. And this time I'm going to offset it a little bit this way. There we go. And it doesn't have to be too perfect. It's just kind of adding that bit of depth and dimension there. All right, I'm going to set that aside. I'll clean that up here in a little bit. But now I just need a little block, and I'm going to use that little leafy image on there. And this is going to add just kind of that decoration around the outside of the wreath. So I'm going to use fresh pear, and then I am going to use grassy knoll, but I'm going to start with my lightest color first, just because it's easier to layer that way. I'm going to start off here by stamping that right over that texture. And see it stamps on there just great, even with all of the different layers on there. So totally works nice and easy. And I love how great these inks stamp here. All right, let's stamp that about there. And then we'll add this on about there. I'm kind of making that layered together. And then I'm going to come in here with the darker shade, and I'm just going to add that layered over a little bit, kind of towards the bottom of those. So, and you can build these up as much as you want. You could go all the way around, kind of in as many layers as you want. Yeah, I love, like I said, I love just these color families, Kate, that, and I think green is such just a peaceful and calm color combo that it works really well with that sympathy card idea. Another combo I think this would be fun in would be blues or soft purples, lots of different ones like that. Okay, I'm going to add the sentiment. So the sentiment's going to be the last of those 4 color family ones. And I'm going to go ahead and use, this is the key lime, which is the 3rd darkest. I'm going to use that to stamp my sentiment. And all these variations in the color just kind of help add to that layering and the depth on here. Oh yay, Greta, and glad you could join us, even if you are a little late. I'm late sometimes too, and I'm the one who's doing it, so. All right. And that is how easy it is to add all that stamping. But you might have noticed that still looks a little flat and white. And hold on here, I just realized I forgot to grab my scrap of paper here. Give me just a second. I think I still have one handy here. We can use this. All right, this is what I used before to do my ink blending around the edges. So I'm going to pull out again the fresh pair. Hold on, catching the comments there. All right, and you can use any form of blending brush. I just got these new ergonomic blending brushes this week. I'd pre-ordered them back before all the crazy, so I was kind of excited to use these this week, and I really love them. But even if you just like foam blenders or any other kind of brush blenders, anything that just comes around the edges there and adds that little bit of color in there. I don't know if you can kind of see on there, just that depth that's going to add. And I'm kind of just making sure that it gets darker around the edges and then blends in a little bit just to add some color, but it's still leaving it white in the center. And I just use a little scrap of white paper to protect my desk. Usually I have one ready in here, and that was the one item I kind of forgot about this morning. So fortunately I still had this one in my scrap bin from yesterday. So I just pulled it back out and used it again. All right. Love just how quick this allows me to just go around those edges. All right, now we've gone from that white boring just to pulling all the colors together. And when you ink blend, it does have a softer look than the full-on stamped, because it's not, excuse me, not as dense of an application of color. So it's kind of fun to use the same color for some ink blending and then stamp over it, or vice versa. On this, I stamped and then ink blended around it. So it's kind of a good way to stretch out your colors too, and you get a little more use out of them. All right, so we've almost got the layers done on this. The next thing I wanted to do well, actually, let's go ahead and pop up. So all I do to pop these leaves up is just like that. You just come underneath and I push up a little from the bottom and they just bend right up, and notice how instantly that gives dimension there. And what that's going to do as well, hi Peggy, glad you could come even if you're late. Michigander in Texas. Yes, you can scan and catch up. These definitely repost afterwards. And yes, Denise, I love how well these dies cut. That's definitely... All right, so once I get all these popped up, what this is going to allow then is the next layer I put under this is a little bit of gold glitter cardstock. And maybe when you look straight down on it, you don't notice, but because these are popped up in that dimension, it kind of lets you peekaboo that gold glitter paper underneath. It's just kind of a fun little touch that you don't have to pop that up. It even looks lovely just down, but something about that dimension when it pops up makes me really happy. So once I get these adhered together, see how you can kind of see that gold underneath there, and it just adds to the layering and the dimension. All right. So before I do that though, let's bring in that gold a little bit more. I'm going to add some gold splatters. And I'm going to use, I like to use my Starry Colors palette. That's one of my favorite ways to add some gold splatters. And I have a box to protect my surface. Let's see. Oh, Greta, I know. See, it was one of those, it really helps to see this one in action because it's such a unique and fun die that you wouldn't necessarily know how fun it was until you kind of saw how it worked. All right, so I just add a little bit of water into whichever color, and I'm kind of going for that deepest gold on this card, just because I liked the contrast. And I just kind of mix it together with a little bit of water until you kind of get a slurry. I don't know if that's the right technical term. And then you can just add some splatters, however you want. If you put more on and have more color on there, you'll get some bigger splatters. Once it gets a little more dashed off, you get those really fine little splatters. I kind of like the mix of both on there. All right, I think that's about enough. And these, using these for gold splatters works great too because they dry really quickly, which is another thing I love about them. I'm still gonna let it dry a little bit before I try and touch it too much because I don't want to mess up those splatters. But I am going to go ahead and trim. Usually I put this on here and then I trim it down to fit, but I kind of remember we'll see if I remember right. Let's see if I have my measurements correct. I can always trim it down a little more if I need to. So pop that gold glitter. And then I'll see if my measurements are correct. Oh, that looks just about right. I think we're on. Might have to take a tiny bit more. Oh, Greta, see, I have used mine. I can't believe how long they've lasted because I use them all the time. Those starry colors, all those golds, that is my go-to for gold splatters. And I put splatters on so many things that I just absolutely love it. All right, so when I adhere this down here, I'm only going to adhere under the center because I want to leave everything kind of popping up. Even on this card, I adhered it down, but I still left so that these sides could come up. So what I'm going to do for this today is I'm just going to go ahead and use some liquid adhesive. That way I don't have to worry about smearing my gold splatters before they finish drying. And I can just make sure I have enough on there. And when it dries, it'll be nice and sturdy on that glitter cardstock. Let's put that glue away too before I make another mess of myself. All right. And the nice thing is too, with the liquid, it's a little bit forgiving as well. So it gives me a little room to kind of wiggle it into place and make sure I'm happy with where I've got it. And those gold splatters are already basically dry. So we've already kind of done the work there. All right, let's add, it's time for some jewels and that bow at the top. And you could add a more three-dimensional bow. What I ended up using for this, I always just kind of look through my other sets to see what I can find. And this is an older set, it's called Great Joy. I didn't even use the stamp, the coordinating die, I cut it out of that same gold glitter cardstock there. And just on its own, it didn't even need the more detailed image. I thought that was just kind of a fun way to add a bow onto this wreath as well. There's lots of different bows in all of our different sets, and there's so many different wreaths as well that you have lots of options on that. So I'm going to do the same thing with that liquid glue on this, because part of what I want to do there is just put the glue in the center of the bow, and then when I adhere that down, once it dries, I can kind of curl up those edges and the bottom, and it's going to give the illusion of a little more dimension. So, all right, now we just need some of these on there. I love, Greta, I love dimension, but I also love still being able to fit it in the envelope sometimes. Sometimes I just pile on the dimension, but I'm always looking for ways to make it look like it's more dimensional than it actually is. So this, it'll still go flat in envelope, but there's so much fun dimension on there. It's just, I just love those little tricks, especially layering up paper and stuff like that. Yes, Marilyn, I agree that I kind of try and do that with sympathy cards, and just kind of have a few on hand for when you need them, so you don't have to go through the moment of making them when you need them. That's never the fun time to make them. But they also are some of, I know I can think of many times in my life where they've been some of the most meaningful cards that you can receive is those sympathy cards. So even though they aren't the fun, happy ones that necessarily are fun to send, they mean the world when someone needs them. So I always love a set that works really well for a sympathy card like this. All right, and I'm just kind of scattering around. I'm doing some groups of 2 and some groups of 3. I'm also going to add a big one right in the center of that bow for a little bit of sparkle. Let's see. I'm almost done there. Let's see. Another big one. Getting close to done here. I have to lay them out before. I know some people can just put their adhesive down and glue it down all in the same step, but I'm not good at that. I have to see it before I commit. Gotta kind of plan it out. And I'm actually just kind of copying my last one, but I still like to get it all in place before I stick everything down. So, all right. No, the jewels do not have adhesive on the back, which I'm grateful for, because I like being able, like this, that I can lay them down, I can maneuver them where I want, and then just add. A lot of people will use just like round glue dots or their favorite liquid adhesive. My preferred is just glossy accents, and I have a detail tip on here. And then if you haven't seen me use this, I have a jewel picker, and this is my favorite way just to be able to pick them up easily. There's several different ways. This one's a crystal. This one's from Studio Katya, I think, is where this one came from. But it's just got like a wax tip on it that picks up the crystal, or the jewel, I'm sorry, in this case. And then you can add your adhesive and it'll just kind of hold back in place right where you've put the adhesive. So I'm just going to keep turning this around and sticking these down. Once you've got them where you want them, oops, here I say it's super quick and easy and then I mess that one up. Huh? Ignore me. But it really is quick and easy once you know where you're putting them. All right, let's add this there. Did I? Yes, I did stick those down. I often lose my place when I'm going around and putting these on, and I think I know what I'm doing, and then I mix it up. So right when I get to the end, I know I'm almost there now. Let's get these ones down. I always pick it up and give it a little bit of a shake just to make sure. Yep. If you can tip it and they all stay on, then you've got them all glued down. So yes, these jewels are such a good price point. And anyone who doesn't know, they come packaged like this. I didn't package them up. I got them like this. I opened them up and they were ready to go. So fun packaging, that they look pretty. And I love that you would look at that green and just think it was too dark and too bold for on here. But that's the great thing about these jewels. By the time you put them on, the bottom is that green solid color, but the top has so many different variations of the color, and it kind of reflects whatever it's next to. So yes, I have two similar. This one's a Studio Katya one, and then there's also a Crystal Katana. They're a little bit different, but definitely some similarities, and they're, yes, iridescent. That's the word I was looking for, Leah. Thank you. So yeah, it's perfect because you can kind of color coordinate it to whatever you're doing, just with the color options that are there. All right, last step here. Let's go ahead and add this right onto our white card base. I made it all just a little bit smaller, so I'd have just the tiniest bit of a white border around the edges. And my liquid glue there has dried enough to hold everything in place. And I just want to get that centered there. And that way the gold glitter cardstock is fully adhered, but this is curling up a little around the edges. And you could make this, again, you could make this even simpler if you just wanted to do the stamping and not add the die cutting, or you could just do the die cutting and stamping and not even do the extra. But I love the way the two kind of layer together and add some different options on there. You could also just tie a bow out of ribbon. We have some three-dimensional dies if you're going to hand deliver or anything like that. That works great to put them on there as well. So super quick, super easy, and sometimes it's really fun to pull out those older stamp sets that are so easy to forget about. I know sometimes they get pushed to the back as I'm, excuse me, playing with newer releases, especially like right now. So the new releases are always so much fun too, and I cannot wait for you to see all of that here in just a couple days. So make sure and check back on Thursday on our Instagram, our blog, the Facebook page for Facebook Live, and see all those goodies. And I see we have our winner for today. Congratulations to Marilyn Blatt. There's your email address to claim your prize. Congratulations, and thank you everyone for joining us. I will look forward to seeing you more next week and also later this week on the Facebook page. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.